Dr. Barry, licensed psychologist, and here I share legal and entertainment news from a psychological perspective. Today, I wanted to take a break from some of the heavier cases that we've been covering and just talk about a little TikTok drama that happened. I have the original video by Austin Green linked down in the description if you want to go deeper into this issue, into this case. What ended up happening is that an account on TikTok popped out called Flightless Bird. And this woman starts telling the story of how she's concerned about some changes in her husband. And the things that she's describing and the way that she's describing it really has a lot of people concerned for her safety, for her children's safety, and also about what's really going on with her husband. And she makes a multiple part series where she is saying that his behavior is becoming more and more erratic. The things that she's describing is very troubling. And you think that she's actively in this situation. Well, then come to find out, the entire thing was a reenactment. And when I say reenactment, I mean none of that was actively happening. Her husband has already supposedly been hospitalized, has already received treatment, and this was not an active situation. And I just thought it was important for us to talk about it, for us to just talk about how, with social media, people have to be careful because I do think there was a way for her to tell this story without triggering her viewers. And she's since posted an apology. I think she deleted the entire series. And but so there are so many clips, there are so many reviews. If you search YouTube, you'll also find that multiple people have talked about this as well. She could have done it like Risa Tisa in the Who the F Did I Marry series, where she was clearly saying, y'all will not believe what I just went through. And she told her story, and you knew that she was retelling this. I think she did like 50 parts. I don't know. Like you knew she was retelling a story and she wasn't actively in a situation. The individual says that she likes, I don't know, like she likes theater and she wanted to do performance art, but you don't do that with somebody's true story, making the audience believe that you are actively in danger. And so the videos, of course, ended up getting millions of views. There was a whole bunch of attention, people wanting to help and support, but then a lot of people were very, very triggered when they found out that none of this was an active situation. And a lot of people felt sorry for her husband because the way that he's portrayed, to me, in my opinion. So remember, I'm just here sharing my thoughts, my opinions, because I did watch the videos. The way that he's portrayed, I don't know if he would have wanted to give consent to the story being told in that way. Or even if he did, I don't like I have issues with it. I just personally have issues with somebody doing something like this in this way. Instead of saying like, "Hey, here are the signs of bipolar disorder. Here's how you get your loved ones help. Let me tell you about the craziest 3 months of our life." Instead of doing it that way, doing it and telling the story as though you are actively in danger and as though there's an active crisis. Mm. So there's a lot of backlash that's happened because of this. And I did link because there is an article on Distractify. There are other people, The Wire, there are other people that wrote articles about this as well. And I do think that this can be the downside to social media because things that are negative get more attention than things that are positive. So the videos that I do talking about managing anxiety and managing stress. The videos I do on those topics are not going to do as well as my Dr. Lewis, the strangest testimony I have ever seen in my life. Like that type of content does grab people's attention. And that's where I think we have to be intentional about seeking out positive content. And I'm saying this because and that's why I really wanted to talk about this and cover this, because a lot of my audience loves true crime. A lot of my audience loves, going down these rabbit holes of some of the worst things that humanity can do, and those things grab our attention, but it can sometimes make us feel as though our world is getting more unsafe and our world is dangerous, and sometimes it can really have us stuck in our minds. And so that's where I think seeking out humorous content. So I follow Josh Johnson. I think his comedy is absolutely hilarious. The way that he does storytelling is, I like, that's the comedian that I've been regularly watching. I think he drops videos on Tuesdays at like 8 p.m. and sometimes he'll do a video on Saturday or Sunday. I make myself laugh on purpose. I intentionally watch, you know, Love is Blind. That's my own personal thing. Like, so you find your guilty pleasure, your thing that makes you laugh, that makes you kind of positive. Yes, good. Like his content, like, and comedians often have went through a lot, and the way that they tell even a traumatic or a difficult experience can often make you laugh. The way that she told it was incredibly triggering. I did watch the videos, the coverage of this, and it is just all very ugh. And so this article says, by its very nature, TikTok can be home to some pretty wild kinds of videos. Some videos can be simple, like dancing, talking about pet ownership. There's book talk, there's cook talk, like there's all of these different things. And then some of it can also include very real trauma or dangerous situations. Recently, a TikTok account called Flightless engaged in the second kind of video, and her videos went viral. Though the story she told was scary enough, but that's not the end of the saga. Here's what we know about the drama around this account and where it originated. The drama began when she started her new handle, and she focused on her husband's behavior, describing it as increasingly strange and erratic, uh, and that he was recently prescribed Zoloft to deal with ongoing depression. And I will tell you, so somebody that's prescribed an antidepressant, if they really have undiagnosed bipolar disorder, that can trigger a manic episode. And that's where, if they have an increase in irritability, if they have an increase in agitation, paranoia, things like that, if they were my client, if it was my client saying this happened with their spouse, I would encourage them to talk with their medical doctor, psychiatrist immediately about, how they should handle that. I can't give medication advice, but I was like, hey, like that's not, like, that can be a sign of a deeper issue. It sounds like there's a manic episode. So RNA, this is a great question. Am I going to show the videos? So I personally, those videos are incredibly triggering, and she is a very good storyteller. And me just watching it, even as a psychologist, going into it knowing that she was safe, the way that she tells it is very triggering to me. So I personally, I'm not going to play the videos. The videos are down. Austin Green did show the videos, and so I want to be very careful with the community. And so I won't be playing. I feel like I can talk about it, and I do not have to put us through that, because it is the you know that she's clearly describing something troubling, but you are not aware that it's not an active situation. So I'm personally not gonna do it. Um, all right. All right. So let's go back to this. All right. She said her husband was becoming more aggressive towards her and their 4 children, and that she thought he might be in some sort of psychotic or manic episode. And she explained that because of their children, she didn't think she could leave him. She also thought that he was having thoughts towards harming himself and others. And she asked advice for people that have been through situations, that have been through things like that, providing updates. Like there were days in between her providing updates where people are concerned about what's going on with her. Well, she was actually doing a reenactment. And that's the part that I think really made the community feel bamboozled and just oy, very, very hurt, because there were people that were invested in her safety. Like there are people, because sometimes if you do something like this, people can call, you know, people can call authorities, or like this could have gotten out of hand than it did, because she's sitting here saying, I'm making sure that my family isn't monitoring his social media, and I'm making sure that my family isn't seeing these videos, and I'm just doing this to get help. But that wasn't the reason why she was actually doing it. She was doing it to, like, I don't know if it was to gain a I don't what she says she was doing it for, and the real motivation, we'll never know exactly why she did this. It does seem like she wanted some attention. Like I'm just being honest. And that type of attention. So even negative attention for a difficult situation, that is still attention. And when you see all these notifications, you see all these comments, you see all these duets, shares, saves, that can feed a person's behavior. Like you get dopamine. So like when people comment on a video, when I see how many people are watching live, those things do have an impact on the creator. But you just have to be careful that your content isn't like negatively affecting your community. And I do think it was a big misstep to not say that this was a reenactment of things that had happened to her family months before, because there were people that were worried about her safety. All right. And so she said that she did this to bring awareness to mental health, and just how difficult the process was to, to get him help and support. Some people say that she used to be a former mommy blogger. And then that's where I say, because I even have it like, please do not try to find people or do those things. That's very problematic. But I wanted to compare the way she told her story to the way Risa Tisa, who also went viral for sharing her, like, whoa, like her story with her ex-husband and all that happened, and she got brand deals out of it. I did cover that case. So if you know nothing about the Who the F Did I Marry, in my entertainment playlist, I did cover her, like the bits and pieces. Um, I will admit sometimes those videos can be difficult for me as a therapist to watch because um, sometimes they are told in a way that can feel like you're just kind of dumping on people. And because if people are just scrolling, her video might have popped up and been extremely triggering. And then for the rest of the day, people might have been worried about her safety and what was going on and how things were. I believe she's since deleted her social media. She's posted multiple apologies. She's said that she's learned from it. To me, the best thing that shows if people have actually learned is a change in behavior, because apologies with no change in behavior are absolutely worthless. And so I do hope that the family kind of comes together, because anybody that knows them now knows something that's very personal and private about their family. There are things about my family that I will never talk about on my social media because I don't have permission, or even if I did have permission, it would still feel exploitive to me. And so I choose to not do that. Everybody has different boundaries with their family. Everybody has different boundaries around social media. But as I dig deeper into the whole like Mr. Beast and his desire for like fame and his desire for, millions of subscribers and all of that, it's really shown a dark side of what can happen sometimes. And it's all allegations. I don't know what's true and what's not true in his situation. The one thing I will say is I want to have impact, because influence with no impact, but like a positive impact. And I don't want the impact I have to negatively impact my family, the people I love and care about, my friends. So when I go out with my friends, I don't post them on my social media. So there were some people that I shared pictures. So I went on a family vacation back in July, and anybody that I shared pictures of, I had permission to do so. And so I think consent with social media, I think that is very important. And then people really looking at what's my motivation? Like what am I, and is this the best way to share this message? Could sharing this message this way negatively impact my family and friends? And so I'm just gonna check the chat. Yeah, Lauren, I agree, because you said the last time I heard someone say that they did something to raise awareness for mental health, um, were they actually doing it in a way that is productive? And I think it's important to do these things in a productive way, in a way that we can learn, we can grow, but that it doesn't have to, you know, yeah, it didn't feel good to me. Like I said, if you would like to watch the coverage that, like to actually hear some of the videos, just to kind of get a deeper rundown into what happened, I have that video down in the description. I wanted to hop on and do this little live to break up the coverage, because some of the next cases I have coming up, because we're going to talk about the Sandra, y'all know me in names, and it's all, I know it starts with a B, Birchmore. We're going to talk about the Sandra Birchmore case out of, I think it's Canton. I think it's Canton as well. We are going to talk about that case on Saturday. It is a very, very troubling, very, very heavy case. Before talking about that, we're going to talk about some back to school tips for teens, for preteens and teens. So that's what the upcoming schedule looks like for Saturday. Yes, we will definitely be doing that. Aw, thank you, TJ. That this really is the goal. So within true crime, to also insert a little bit of education, to dig a little deeper. How can we learn? How can we avoid these things? If people are coping with loss, what are some tips? And just how can we do that? Yes. Tanika's 2 cents. Congrats on 1K. Tanika has been covering Sarah Boone, and then also covers some other stuff if you haven't checked out her channel. Parasocial relationships need to be carefully managed. I totally agree with that. And there is a downside to going viral. And that downside can be that you can get a lot of love 1 minute and then get a whole bunch of hate another minute. And that is a lot. And so Shani D, yes. So join us on Saturday. I think it'll be about 1:15 p.m. Eastern. That's when I plan to do that live, talking about social anxiety, phone bans. So in Virginia and a bunch of other states, they're starting to ban phones in schools, and kids are kind of freaking out. Yeah. So we're going to talk about that. And then also just talking about how to help kids navigate as we enter political cycles. I've had clients coming in talking about additional stress with that, and a school refusal, and those kinds of topics. And so really, really looking to have that. Laura, I have a super niche question. Wow. Oy. So Laura, it sounds like you have a family member that you don't have a good relationship with and is not accepting that they are terminal. How to navigate that? And really, I think you can't help that person accept their situation. Denial might be protective for them. You mentioned that this individual protected somebody that was harmful and towards you. And so that's where you protecting yourself. So this is just general. I can't give people individual advice. So in general, what I would recommend is for you to do whatever you need to do to be okay with what's coming and to move forward. So please, you protect yourself because they're not going to do it. They may not give the closure. They may not do what they need. And so we are responsible for our healing. Our healing. So I'm not responsible for my husband's healing. I'm not so like my child, if my child was having behavior problems, I would get him in therapy. I would take feedback if there are things I can do better as a parent, but I can't heal my child. Like if he has emotions, I teach him how to work through those. I support him. I try to co-regulate. I do all those things, but if he's in distress, I can't take it away. And as a child, sometimes we have to deal with, this is the parent that I have. I deserved better. I deserved to be protected. I deserved to be cared for. They didn't do that. And then you just kind of figure out how you where you go from there. Yes, yes, yes. All right. Yes. 1 p.m. Eastern. So it'll be 1:15 Eastern. So my kid starts his quiet time at 1 p.m. And so probably like 1:15 Eastern. I will have it scheduled on Friday. So sometime tomorrow, I will have both of those lives for Saturday scheduled. All right. All right. I appreciate you all. I think accountability, people coming back and apologizing, but I want to see change in behavior. So it's like people can say, I apologize all they want. Because one of the worst things to do is for somebody to apologize and then still do the same thing again, or to like think that to the apology will then make them not have consequences for their behavior, and people have consequences. And so 7 a.m. And you don't have to, if that's too early for you, if it's fine for you, great. But if that's too early for you, I I get it. That's okay. I keep all of my lives up, and I have them categorized. So that one will be in the parenting and therapeutic resources playlist. All right. Uh, Afton, I agree. This anxious generation, The Anxious Generation is a great read for parents about electronics and social media. I also like, there's another book. It's like behind their screens, and it was written by a professor. I believe she's a professor at Harvard, but it just kind of helps parents understand like why teens are so, you know, addicted, or like what they get from their screens, and that we have to balance. So that's not all bad, it's not all good. And so yes, uh, Hawaii is one of my favorite places. I'd like to go next year. I don't know if it'll happen, but that's like on my bucket list. I really, really want to go next year for a visit. Um, yes, yes, yes. I will post after if it happens. If I go out there next year, I'll post after. But yes. Thank y'all for joining me. I hope y'all have a good rest of your day. Bye.